Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about... Alright, let's address the elephant in the room. I know it's not Halloween. Alright, that's long past. But when it came to my Halloween videos, I ran out of time and I couldn't upload everything I wanted to. So that's why I'm uploading them past Halloween. But if you stop and look at it like this, at some point in time, it's gonna be Halloween time again, October. So somebody eventually will stumble upon my videos and watch it around Halloween time. So yeah, Scream 5, the 2022 movie review. Oh Lord, dear Jesus, what has befallen upon me? Just like the title says, I watched it finally for the first time, and I wish I never did. Now, okay, look, if you ever watching my videos, you know, look, I am not part of no type of fandom menace. I'm not a troll. I'm not screaming the word woke or SJW, nothing like that. So when I rant about this movie, it has nothing to do with it. It has to do with everything else. Because if you know, I've talked about the 4 Scream movies before, and I reviewed the pilot to the first season of the TV show. I haven't finished the whole TV show thing yet. I'm taking my time, and I have to rewatch it and stuff like that. And I really kind of don't want to rewatch it. And so, you know, I love Scream. I've explained before, it was the first slasher I've ever seen. It what got me into horror movies and slasher movies. It revived the genre of horror and slasher, because before it was a dead franchise and people had stopped making them, and so it reinvigorated it. Not only did it do that, but it jump-started again spoof movies and teen comedy romance movies. And Scream did all of that, and Scream was just a slasher movie. Scream is amazing. Like, it is amazing, and I love this. I have the costume of Ghostface. I have the knife of Ghostface. You know what I'm saying? So, long time ago, when I was talking about the trailer, I started talking about this, I started talking about that. The movie has changed a lot from when the trailer first came out to the initial reports about the characters and stuff like that into the movie. Apparently, a lot of stuff has changed from the original script to the original final product, like the character of Tara, whatever her name, Tara and Amber. They were supposed to be lovers in this, making this the first LGBT relationship in Scream. For some reason, it got completely scrapped. And then towards the end, they still had a LGBT character that came out of nowhere. And you can tell that was added into the last minute, because they're like, crap, people are going to be pissed at us if we don't have this in there. So they threw it in with this one character, and it just seemed as random as like as usual. And then there's a character that survived at the end that wasn't even originally supposed to survive, but they thought this person was so charming they had to keep this person. I don't think that's what it is. I think the only real reason they kept this person is because they realized something. See, this movie has to do with the fandom, the toxic fandom of like movie franchises. And they make reference to that a lot. And you know, the Scream is very meta in a way. And so they realized something. There are 6 people who survived this movie. Well, originally there was 5. And all of them are female. So they're like, crap, we gotta have at least one male who survived this. And there aren't that many men in this movie. So he was kept at the last minute. So, all right, let's talk about like this movie. Then again, maybe Mindy being tacked on as a lesbian wasn't a last minute thing. The actress herself is actually a lesbian. So maybe they always intended for that character to be that. But then why once again did they like just like completely like ditch the whole Tara like Amber thing? That's still like making a lot of people wonder like what happened. And of course, because this movie just came out like in February, we're not gonna get the real details of like behind the scenes stuff, not until like many years later. Remember how I said the Scream TV show was a drama first and a and a slasher like second, and how the Scream movies were different because they were a slasher movie first and then like drama second. And really, the only real drama, like the only backstories we have is that of the final girl and the killer. Everybody else, we don't know their backstory. But everybody else, we get to know little bits and pieces who they are as the movie progresses. And that's all we need. We don't need no giant backstory. We don't need no huge dramatic moment. You know, it's all about the killer and the final person. This movie changed all that. This movie basically flipped the script. And so when it did that, initially I was upset. But then I stopped and I thought about it. Scream originally flipped the script on what slasher movies were like 20 something years ago. So I'm like, okay, if I can respect that, I can respect this. So I'm like, okay, I'm fine, I'm cool. I'm okay, because like they changed certain things. The opening with Jenny's character, Tar, she survives the attack by Ghostface. This has never been done before. Every Scream movie starts off with a very memorable opening scene. It's something you will remember no matter what. And it's always with somebody famous. And they kill that person off first. This movie didn't do that. This movie kept the famous person all the way to the end. But that famous person is not our hero of like the movie. They're like just like, I guess you could call like a little bit of a sidekick kind of, but not really. And so that changed everything. And at first I was a little irritated because one thing about Ghostface is this. He has to kill the person in the beginning of the movie. If it doesn't, it makes him or her look weak and like they can't get the job done. And if they can't get the job done with just some random person, how are they supposed to defeat the hero of the movie? You know what I'm saying? Which of course they always get their butt kicked by the hero. But then it just makes them look weak. So in that aspect I don't really like, but it's like, hey, whatever. They're changing the formula, so that's okay. And this opening scene is slightly memorable. I like the whole door lock system with the cell phone, this and that. But other than that, it's kind of like, I don't know, it wasn't that memorable to tell you the truth. Like the only reason why Ghostface lost is because the cops showed up and it scared that person away. But we didn't really know that until a couple of minutes later. And so it's kind of like, dude, what's up with this Ghostface? They that scared by cops? They got a bulletproof vest. You know what I'm saying? And so it kind of makes Ghostface looks a little weak. I'm okay with them keeping the person in the beginning alive, but it just makes Ghostface look weak, you know? And so another thing about this movie that I didn't particularly like was that movie made me so mad I wanted to flip a table. Mufasa did not die for this. Okay, the cast is super huge. You need that in a slasher because everybody's a suspect. Fine. But not everybody's a good enough actor or actress. Okay, normally, you know how I mean and how I do my videos. I always try to be as polite as possible when it comes to people's acting. I know a lot of people aren't that good. And when I do criticize it, I try to be polite. If it's a young person, like a kid or teen, then I don't comment on their bad acting. Unless they do a good job, then I compliment them. The only people I ever bash are like writers, directors, showrunners, and celebs I lost respect for. However, with this huge movie, These are the only people who can actually act in the movie. Of course, the original cast. And when it comes to the new cast, these are the only ones who can actually hold their own and act, which I knew they could because I'm a fan of theirs and I've seen them in other stuff. Everybody else needs to go back to acting school. And that's about as polite as I can get. And what's really sad is that one of them is the final girl or superhero person. In fact, tell you the truth, everybody here survived except for two people. So, yeah. This movie, oh, by the way, it's gonna get a sixth movie. Yes, that's happening now. They're filming now in Canada, I believe. Courtney Cox and Neve Campbell are scheduled to come back. And they've already read the script and everything. And I've wondered something. Why in the world are they coming back for this sixth movie when they barely did anything in the film? When I say they barely did anything, I mean they barely did anything. And so why would they come back? I'm all like, it's probably because, the fandom. They built this franchise, so they're going to come back for the fans. Also, it's a nice paycheck. Technically, they don't need it, especially Courtney Cox, if she's still making $1 million residual for like Friends episodes. But it's extra money, So I don't know how those residuals are now because the whole streaming thing. And so, but it's a nice paycheck nevertheless. That's some extra spending money. And because they're scheduled to come back, they're happy to be back, but it's kind of like, why? You didn't do nothing. And so, yeah. And I was wondering with this new cast, why can't they act? Well, the dude on the left, he is the son of a famous celebrity. So you already know a good 9 out of 10 chances he ain't gonna be able to act, because most of them don't. The one girl who played Liv, she's just a model slash singer. The final girl, I've never heard of her, but I think she does a lot of TV shows over in another country. And so she's probably just not used to like American acting and this and that, or maybe she's just not good at all. I don't know why. No, I'm not trying to be mean, but look, why did they cast her if she's not that great of an actress? Why not just have Jenny Ortega be the main final girl, the main superhero type person? People know her, people love her, and she can actually act. Why not just pick her? Why the other girl? I get it. Because, like, with the first Scream, everybody knew who Neve Campbell was. She was a famous TV star. Don't nobody know who this new girl is, because, unless they watch TV in another country. And so, I'm just like, so the acting just kind of really got to me. And so when I was watching this movie with the main girl, I was wondering something. Why is a de-aged Billy Loomis like showing up in the reflection? And why is he talking about her past and how they're related? I'm like, nah, how are they related? How? So then I'm like, okay, I'm watching. And she's talking to the Tara girl, because this is Sam. Sam's talking to like Tara, and she's all like, look, I have something to tell you. When I was 13, I found out who my biological father was, and this is what caused your dad to walk out and leave. And so I'm like, okay, fine. Mr. Loomis, Billy's dad, he's known for like, maybe he's known for cheating. So maybe she's Billy's like long lost sister, right? Nope. She is Billy's daughter. I'm like, how in the world is that possible? Because Billy was a teenager back in 96. So after doing some research, okay, Sam is about 23, 24. Billy died in 96. So she would have been conceived around the first Scream movie at some point. Either he cheated on Sidney, or this is when they broke up, or something. He banged an older woman. And that older lady had a kid. And now here is Sam. because Sam was born in 97. So, unless somehow Billy came back alive and banged her mom at like January, he had to have done it during the events of the first movie. Okay, this is something we didn't know about in the beginning. They threw this in. It can work, but does it have to? Did they really have to go that route? They could have just did Billy's dad, and that could have been Billy's sister. So in a way, she's worried because she's the daughter of a serial killer, and she's afraid what people might think of her. That's a great buildup right there. Only problem is they didn't go nowhere with it. Nobody was freaked out that she was the daughter of Billy Loomis. Not one single person. So what was she dreading about? Because her life spiraled out of control when she found that out. Drugs, running away from home, you name it. And so they could have built some really good drama on that. Having people be afraid of her because she's the daughter of a serial killer, and they could assume she is the killer, which they do, but in a more joking, paranoid kind of way. And then so that was a missed opportunity right there. And so then about 20, close to 25, 30 minutes in, we get our first reveal of our original cast member. Is Dewey. This is probably Dewey's like an all-time fan favorite. All right, dude's funny, and the dude keeps changing in every movie. In the first 3 movies, he's silly. In the second movie, he's walking with the limp. In the third movie, the limp kinda goes away. In the fourth, he's more serious, but a little dopey in the head, but still more serious. And then the limp is completely gone. And then 10 years later, he says that he has permanent nerve damage. And he kind of walks with a little bit of a limp, which that just apparently just came back. And so Dewey has fallen on hard times. This is probably his best performance ever, other than that of like the other ones where he's being silly, because they really went the character development route with him. And they really didn't even have to tell us much. We can just get a glimpse of what happened. He's living in a trailer. He's an alcoholic. He watches Gale on TV, and he has a picture of her. They have now broken up, which of course is what happened in real life between the two stars. They got divorced many years ago. And so I've always wondered, ever since Scream 4, how are they going to keep doing this? Because they're divorced in real life, and they're divorced for a reason. And now they keep being brought back for this movie franchise. It has to be somewhat awkward. But I'll get into a little story about that later. And so he is down and out and miserable. And so Sam and her boyfriend, they go to like Dewey for help, right? And because, you know, Dewey's been through all this before. And the girl doesn't want to die, obviously, because she thinks that the killer is coming after her for some reason. But this is the only reason why the killer is coming for her. Because Billy talks to her in reflections. It's all like, you know, once everybody find out this is all because of you and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So she's going to believe that of a ghost and her old paranoia. So whatever. But Dewey doesn't want to help. He's done with this. But he tells her the rules of how to survive a slasher movie, this and that. And I like how it's Dewey, because, you know, Randy taught Dewey this stuff in like the second movie. And, you know, he also took lessons in the third and stuff like that. And so he tells her everything she needs to know. But she doesn't listen to him, of course, about the whole boyfriend thing. And because he's all like, you know, chances are your boyfriend's probably the killer. And he's all like, your group of friends, if you want to catch this killer, hang out with your friends and you'll catch that killer because they're going to come after them. And so, so then she leaves and then she goes to like the twins' house, which is Randy's niece and nephew, Martha Meeks' kids. And so Dewey decides, you know what, I might not be a cop no more. He ain't a cop no more. Judy is now the sheriff. And so he decides, you know what, I can't let these kids die, so he's gonna do this thing, you know? He grabs his gun and he goes. And he's just walking around town with his gun on his waist, not a cop no more. And it's just like, that's totally illegal. You can't just walk around with a gun on your holster unless you're probably like in Texas or something like that. And so, oh, by the way, the town they live in, it don't look the same. It just looks, I don't know, different. It's been looking different ever since the fourth movie. In the first one, it felt more like an old hick town, and now it kind of doesn't. So anyway, he agrees to help. He's talking to the rest of the people. They know who Dewey is, of course. And so they come with the revelation of the motive of the killer. Because earlier, to see the group, like I said, the group is very forgetful. Why is the group forgetful? They barely are even in the movie. The Meek twins, they're barely in the movie. They're in for like a scene at a bar, then they disappear until the third act. Like that's it. I'm not even joking. They disappear. I think his name, what is his name? Chad or something like that. Yeah, Chad. He's dating a girl named Liv. She disappeared for the entire movie until the third act. Amber disappears. I'm not joking. When I say they disappear, they only appear in the first act. They're completely gone in the second, and then they show back up in the third to get stabbed. I'm not even joking. So it's like, if this is supposed to be the reboot, if these are supposed to be our new characters who survive, some of them do, then why are we knowing anything really about them, you know? So anyway, the only thing we know is that Chad's this like pretty boy who thinks he's all that and he wants to get laid. Liv is his girlfriend and doesn't want to bang him. His sister, I don't even know her. Mindy. She's kind of like Randy. She's all about horror movies, explain the rules of the game, and she is the one who turns out to be LGBT towards the end of the movie that was just like crammed in there because they got rid of the whole Tara Amber thing. And so during this whole time, Tara's in the hospital, right? So anyway, earlier they was at a bar and Liv saw her fling from the summer. Some rando dude who just so happens to be related to Stu Macher. He's like the nephew or something like that. How? I didn't even know Stu had a sister. But he's the nephew. And he's pretty old looking too. So I don't understand the continuity of this stuff. So anyway, he is the first person to die by the hands of the killer. Yes, the first person. And that's about 15 minutes in because the original person, Tara, she survives. And so the second person to get attacked, but the first person to die. And so they come with the conclusion that the killer's motive is they're killing people who is related to the people who died in the first movie. But they can't even keep that straight. Okay, if that is the rule of this movie, if that is the motive of the killer, then why isn't consistent with the rest of the kills? And it's just like, just so happens everybody in this movie just so happens to be related somehow to somebody in the first. But not everybody is. This is what's so confusing. So, the second and third person to die is Wes and Judy Hicks. Judy is the first to die, and Wes is the second. Wes is taking a shower. Judy went to go get some food. The killer calls Judy, freaks her out. She zooms on back home. She runs into her house only for the killer to stab her in broad daylight in her neighborhood at her front porch. She's screaming for help, everything. Where are her neighbors at? This is broad freaking daylight. It is bright and sunny outside, which is very unusual for Ghostface. Ghostface likes to move around at night, or at least late in the afternoon when it's dim so nobody can see Ghostface. This Ghostface all like, hey, I'm out in the open, y'all. And she's screaming for help and nobody can hear her. What kind of crappy writing is that? And so she dies. And then so one thing this movie does that I don't like is that it is not very good at building suspense. After this, supposedly, why did the killer go and kill Wes? He killed his mom. So technically somebody has died now. That's a relative. But here's the problem with this. Judy and Wes are not related to nobody from the first movie. They're not related from nobody from the second or the third. Judy appeared in the fourth movie. And not only did she appear, but she's completely different in this movie. She's more serious. She doesn't joke around. She's not goofy or nothing like that. She kind of pulls a Scream for Dewey when Dewey starts to act serious. So that's kind of interesting. Well, 10 years has passed. I guess she grew up. But like I said, the problem is she's not related to nobody. So therefore, the killer went against his own supposed rules. Or maybe these aren't the real rules to begin with. Maybe this is just their assumption, but whatever, And so, back to the suspense. It has a bad time building suspense. And so, Wes is walking around the house, and you expect the killer to pop up. Nope, not yet. Then the door opens and closes. Oop, killer's not there yet. Then the killer finally shows up, and stab-a-rooney, he dies. And so, it's like... Then it's like, dude, I didn't want him to die. I like this actor. Oh, also, speaking of kills, I don't like the way they killed people in this movie. There's nothing that memorable. The first one to die, the dude from the bar, he just gets stabbed in the neck really fast, like just stabbed in the neck. And then he gushes blood and he dies. Tara got stabbed over and over and over again, about 7 times, and she survived to the end of the movie. How is that possible? Not to mention this movie, other people later on get stabbed over and over, and they survive somehow. But it's weird because like this dude gets like the bar gets stabbed in the neck, dies. Josh, I think, is stabbed in the stomach, and he dies just from one stabbing. Like it just doesn't make sense sometimes. And so now these two are dead. And so, okay, the killer's picking people off one by one. So now, since Judy is now dead, here comes Gale because Dewey texted her. So remember how I said Dewey is down in the dumps and he had a lot of good character development because something happened to where everything just went dismal for him. He's no longer sheriff, he's drinking, he's very poor. And so it's like, what happened to him? You know what I'm saying? And so Gale comes in and I'm thinking to myself, it's going to be awkward between those two. Not really. She's happy to see him. Only, well, hold up, y'all broke up. Why did y'all break up? The same reason why they broke up in the third movie. She got a good job offer somewhere like in LA. He didn't want to leave his hick of a town, so she left him. I'm just like, dude, your life went to the crapper all because you didn't want to move from a hick town? Like, just get your behind up and leave. And so she's thrilled to see him. And she's like, worried about him and this and that. And that's the reason why they broke up. That's the reason why they divorced. And it's just like, that's not good enough for me. It's the same plot from the third movie. And it's like so his life went that bad just because of that. And he could literally get her back if he wanted to. And I'm just like, that's not no good writing. So all of that character development just went down the drain, in my opinion. Who cares if he's down and out? That was a stupid reason for him to be down and out and everything. And so, yeah, she's just living in LA on like a news show. And when she comes back, here's the problem. She don't do nothing. She ain't trying to solve the case. She's there and she's talking to like the new girl and everything. The new girl's like, oh my God, you're Gale Weathers and stuff. Like everybody does. And it's just like, what's going on? And that's basically it. She don't do nothing. She ain't investigating nothing. She's not snooping around. She's not looking for the killer. Nothing. Like, Gale doesn't do nothing. So what was the point in her coming back? This is why I'm saying Courtney must have took a paycheck or something like that, because she don't do nothing. So why would she come back for the 6th movie? So then we get our final original cast member. See, back in the hospital, Tara, the killer, wanted to kill her again, and she survived, and it's very gruesome. Like, the girl is struggling and bleeding from her original wounds that are wrapped up and stuff, with a giant cast on her arm and her foot. And so she's doing her best to survive. The boyfriend gets slashed same way Derek did in the 2nd movie, like on the arm and everything. And so, you know, the cop is trying to like find like Ghostface and everything, and can't find them. So then, you know, now Sam is kind of like pissed. She's just kind of like, you know, oh, you people ain't helping out, blah, 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 and I gotta help my sister, and blah, 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 blah. And then Sidney comes in. And then when she sees Sidney, she's just like, ugh. I'm just like, I thought you wanted her help and everything. Now she's leaving. She's like, you people can't help me. So she's trying to take her sister and leave and everything. And so Sidney's trying to talk to her like, look, man, you gotta stick together. The killer's coming after you. But me and Gale, now they're doing something. They're gonna go looking for this killer. And she's all like, oh, you can't help. She's just being snarky for no reason. Now, here's the problem I'm having with Sidney in this movie. 10 years has passed from the 4th movie. Sidney has moved up north, got married to a man named Mark, don't know what he looks like, and has 2 girls. She had them in the stroller as she's jogging. She has moved on in her life. And we don't know what her kids look like, but she has kids now. She's moved on. And my thing about this is Sidney's very paranoid from the older movies. She didn't start to get her life back until the 4th, until all this crap started again with Jill. That caused her to say, forget Woodsboro for good, and she left. So here's my problem with her. This is not her concern. She has a family now. Why is she coming back so she can die? You know what I'm saying? She's married. She has kids. She does not personally know Sam or her sister. So why is she getting involved and worried about these kids surviving? I can understand she's worried about the twins, but she don't interact with the twins. And so why would she leave her cushy home just to go back to like Slasherville Central? You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't make no sense. And so that's, in my opinion, was like weak, bad writing, because she has no true motive for coming back. She has no like reason to, you know. But she's Sidney Prescott, and oh, now she carries a gun everywhere she goes, and she carries 2, one for herself and one for like Gale and everything. It's like, I'm just like, it was pointless for her coming back. She must have took a paycheck, and she's gonna be in the 6th movie. And then when I reveal something towards the end, it's going to be even bigger. Why the world are you even in this movie? So, anyway, Sam, this is not a problem I don't understand. Sidney, so Sam's all like, I'm the daughter of Billy Loomis. And Sidney's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, how does Sidney know? Sidney didn't know about that affair. I'm thinking, oh, wait, Dewey contacted her and must have told her. And these two don't have no dialogue, no emotional exchange between the two. Okay? And I'm just like, dude, she is the daughter of your ex-boyfriend who killed your mom, killed your friends, and tried to kill you. And you couldn't even like have like some type of dialogue about that, no kind of emotional anything. And it's because the writers didn't know. They didn't know how to write this. And not only that, but not only is she the daughter of a serial killer, but her grandmother's a serial killer too. Billy Loomis' mom, remember her? And she never gets brought up. So in a way, her, Sam, boyfriend, Richie, and Tara, they just like hightail it, right? And they get on out of there. But then Tara's like, oh no, I lost my inhaler. I have a second one at Amber's house. And Amber at this point in time is throwing a party. She's mourning the loss of her friend. Okay, one dude dies and she's throwing a party. What kind of writing is this, man? It's a regular house party. It's not like a wake or nothing like that. So of course, randomly they have to go to the house. And what house do they live in? Stu's old house. They bought it. So Amber just happens to live in the serial killer's house where a big massacre happened. And nobody's really too much bringing this up that much, except for Chad. But the only reason why Chad brings up, he tells his sister, I can't believe you're watching style one of our uncle getting killed. And stuff. And so there's the stupid house party crap. And they try to recreate almost every scene from that of the original house party. The whole Mindy being on the couch, like Randy was on the couch, and the killer being over Mindy, and it tries to like stab her and stuff. They do the whole get me a beer at the refrigerator, and it's down in the basement in the garage. Why is it still in the garage? Why is the refrigerator still in the garage? Why haven't they moved it into the house? So and they try to recreate that. No, okay, this movie makes me want to flip a table. And so, I haven't even mentioned this yet. I keep saying Nev and Courtney have been contracted for the 6th movie, and I told you the original person died. It's Dewey. Dewey dies at the hospital. He has a pretty cool scene. That's how he goes out. He has his gun. He's shooting the killer. The killer just happens to have a bulletproof vest. And so the killer kills him with 2 knives, one in the stomach, one in the back, and it raises it up, slicing him. And he is dead. He's probably the best kill in this entire movie, with lots and lots of blood. Really, the only time you're really going to see a lot of blood. And everybody else is getting stabbed. The person's stabbing them over and over and over really fast, but it just looks cheesy, and it made me laugh. By the way, there is no humor really in this movie. There's stupid stuff that'll make you laugh, but that's about it. So it lost that. See, one reason why all this drama and stuff is bugging me is because this is not, I don't look at this as a slasher movie. It's a drama movie that just happens to have a slasher in it. And since they made it into a drama, I want real emotion stuff, and I'm not getting this from this movie. So anyway, Dewey's dead. They're at the party, and then something happens where they're all like, all right, everybody gotta leave at the party. So of course, that's like the original. And so then of course, here comes all the killings. Chad and Liv's like, okay, I want to do it now. And Chad's just kind of like, how I know you ain't the killer? This is a recurring gag throughout the entire movie where they're paranoid. They're like, well, I can't trust you, and I can't trust you, and can't go alone, and don't say, don't be, I'll be right back. And so this pisses Liv off, so she gets mad and walks away. Then with a fake text, he goes outside, and it's the killer stabbing him. And he gets stabbed off screen. And so Liv comes back, she's like, oh my God, what's his name? I got blood on my hand, and I found what's his face dead body. So Chad is dead, or so we think. And so, but remember I said like, oh, somebody was so charming and they need to keep a guy alive at the end. It's him. I'm just gonna get that out of the way anyway, because I'm so irritated with this movie. So anyways, the main cast is all like, oh, there's a killer in the house, and it's probably one of us. And so everybody just starts like, freaking out and accusing, pointing the fingers, and then Sidney comes in with like a gun, and everybody's kind of scattered because Ghostface showed up because Mindy got stabbed and everything, and so now everybody's hiding, and Sidney comes in with the guns all like, I don't care if you're the killer or the victim. If you're hiding, you better come on out. And so everybody's hiding, but she's shooting at random doors and then kicking them open. What if she shoots a random person? Well, she shoots Richie. He's all like, you shot me. She's like, why were you hiding? I told you to come out. She's like, well, you really think I'm going to come out and there's like a killer? So in the ways, a bunch of people start running around, and Tara gets like tied up and freed, and then, now the killers are revealed. And one of the killers are revealed in a kind of funny way. She shoots Liv in the head with a gun. Who is that she? Well, it's Amber, the person who disappears for the entire movie. So she comes outside to Gale and Sidney, and she's just all like, "The killer stabbed me," and blah 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 blah, and it hurts. And Sidney's kind of like, "Do you believe her?" She's like, "Ah, sounds like a trap." So, and then Amber's like, "Ah, screw it." And she shoots Gale, and Sidney's all like, "Go to the hospital. I got this." And that's when she comes up with the gun and everything like that. So then everybody else comes out, and it's revealed that Richie, the boyfriend, is the second killer. Now, the motive of why they wanted to do it, I have problems with it, and I don't. But I don't have the same problems as everybody else on YouTube. The motive of both the killers, mainly Richie, is that they're fans, fanboys and fangirls of the Stab franchise, which is within the movie of Scream. They don't want this to get rebooted and screwed up like so many things like Star Wars and Star Trek. So they want to keep the original intact by creating their own movie and rejuvenating the genre. So that's why they went on this killing spree. So I guess killing everybody who's related to somebody else was just like a cop-out. And so basically their toxic fandom that turned into murderers. Now, in the original Scream, Billy said horror movies don't turn people into psychopaths, they make them more creative. Basically, it was life imitating art. Billy and Stu saw all this crazy stuff in horror movies, it radicalized them, and they turned into killers. And so a lot of people are upset. They're like, oh, just because we're toxic and everything, don't mean we're going to turn to psycho killers. I'm okay with this because that's very realistic. At some point in time, it is going to happen in real life. Life always imitates art, and art imitates life. So I like this idea because it is fresh, it is new, and you got to remember about Scream 4. The reason why Jill and what's his face became like the killers in Scream 4 is because they wanted fans. They wanted to be famous. That's what the big thing was back in like 10 years ago. Everybody wanted to be on reality TV. Everybody wanted to be on YouTube. Everybody just wants to be famous. So they figured if they're the survivors of a killing spree, they will be famous. So I can understand because in the Stab franchise, it's the 8th one and it's stupid. And they're all like, oh, this is crap. So they're going to try to fix all this. I'm totally okay with that. The reason why so many people online are pissed because it called y'all out. Y'all know y'all toxic. Part of the toxic fan base is what's killing franchises. Well, that and writers and directors and showrunners don't know what they're doing. But y'all are making it dismal for people to like want to enjoy anything. And it causes the writers and showrunners to be like, well, we're just going to piss you off intentionally. And then that makes everything worse. So that's why y'all are pissy and everything. My problem with this is, okay, with every Scream movie, there is a true logical purpose as to why the killer wants to start killing people, but mainly Sidney. That person always has a connection to Sidney. And what happened between Billy's dad and Sidney's mom? In this movie, both killers have no kind of connection to Sidney whatsoever. And that takes it takes the specialness out of it. With the first movie, Sidney's mom was messing around with Billy's dad. It caused his mom to walk out. So he got pissed and he took it out on Marine Prescott. And then he took it out on Sidney and everybody else. Stu was just the doopy best friend of Billy and wanted to have fun with him. In the second movie, it was Billy's mom wanting revenge on Sidney through her mom. Wanting revenge on Sidney's mom through Sidney. And Mickey was just so happened to be the dopey sidekick. In the third movie, it was Sidney's brother who was abandoned by Sidney's mom. He had a crappy life and Sidney had the good one. In the fourth, It was Jill, Sidney's cousin, who wanted to be famous like Sidney, and her friend was just the accomplice. In this movie, there is no connection. You know, Amber is not related to nobody in this movie, and she's not related to nobody in the past movie, and neither is Richie. They have, the only connection there is Richie to Sam, because Sam is the daughter of Billy, and that is literally it. So because Sidney is barely in this movie, she is irrelevant now. She has now been replaced, and our new hero, our new final girl, is Sam, who is now the star of this franchise and cannot act. And doesn't even really have that much of a compelling backstory. Because when she see these visions of Billy, now they're trying to redeem Billy, but Billy's kind of like, you're the daughter of a psychopath. Take that knife and do what you need to do and kill those killers. What? No, man. So needless to say, everybody's running around, everybody's getting stabbed, people are getting shot, and so both killers end up dead. Now, the way they kill people are not they're different, but they're not really cool. Sidney decides, oh, I see the female killer bleeding, so I'm going to turn the stove on, and hopefully I can shoot that person in the body, and that person will fall on the stove and set on fire, and that's what actually happens. That was so random, and that was so well thought out. And it's just, and of course, the final girl takes the knife and she just starts stabbing like the killer do over and over and over, because she's been sleeping with the killer, and then she starts shooting him over and over. It's overkill, just stabbing over and over as fast and quickly as possible. Sidney stabbed, Gale is shot, they both live. Then, oh, dude who gets like the killer dude who gets stabbed over and over, he's still alive to talk. How is he alive? Oh, but not only that, but the female girl who got stabbed and shot and stuff, she's now alive after getting burnt and running around crazy. But then of course she gets shot dead. Mindy Meeks is still alive. Her brother somehow is still alive. And so it ends the way the first one did, with the news reporter talking about, like, you know, the murders at this house and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, they're just retreading the first movie. It's like The Matrix, whatever that fourth movie was called. It's just that. It's rehashing everything that happened in the first and retelling it for a modern day style. And in my opinion, it just doesn't work. And this movie could have been fresh. It could have been unique. It could have been interesting. And I noticed something. They was trying to take elements from the TV show and add it into that of the movie. Like it was too overly dramatized, but not dramatized enough. They tried to give way too much backstory, but not enough in good context that told a cohesive story. The whole, like, you know how, like, the final girl on the TV show is related to Brandon James. They try to do like an elaborate like backstory with that, with Billy Loomis and the new girl and stuff. But it was just kind of like they had all these elements and they did not use them properly. Being the daughter of Billy could have been something huge and dramatic, and they ain't do nothing with that. Having twins that are related to Randy, that could have been huge, but it wasn't. One was just a Randy ripoff, but a very watered down version. Dewey died, and not only did Dewey die, but it turns out Courtney Cox said she tried her best to get the creative team to keep Dewey alive. She did not want him to die. She wanted him to be in the sixth movie, and they killed him anyway. If they was gonna get rid of him and show, oh, we have stakes and we're willing to kill anybody, then they should have killed the other two originals so they won't have to come back, so there can truly be a reboot. Or they should have killed more people that was the main cast. Because this is what I don't understand. If the whole thing of them supposed to be killing people who's related to people in the first movie, Sam and Tara aren't related to nobody. No, Tara is. No. Sam is, but Tara is not. So why would Tara get attacked? Why would they kill both the Hicks? Liv is not related to nobody. I mean nobody, but she had to die. And I'm just like, and they could have at least killed one twin off, but they didn't. And I'm just like, this movie was just dismal. Like, this movie should never been made. This movie could have been made so much better. And now you have to think, a sixth movie is coming. Well, what's going to be the motive of this killer now? What, politics? They don't like, one person's a Democrat and the other person's a Republican. They don't like that. Like, that's the only thing I can think of. It's gonna keep making movie after movie after movie until the franchise is truly ruined. And then they're gonna come out many years later when Neb is probably like 60 years old, and they're probably gonna erase like the last 4 movies and then pick up where one movie started off at. And that's what they're gonna do, like the whole Halloween franchise. And I don't want to see that happen. Stop milking things for nostalgia and money. Stop taking a paycheck. You got money. And I'm just, I just can't get over how bad this movie was. I was bored. I've never been bored in a Scream movie. The third movie's good. I just don't like the cast, the new cast. They're very annoying, but even though they're annoying, they're memorable at the same time. I can remember stuff that they said. I don't remember nothing nobody said in this movie. The fourth cast, I'm trying to talk a little bit louder because it's storming outside now. The fourth cast, once the original cast showed up, nobody cared about like the new cast no more. But you can still remember them. You can remember how the blonde girl died. You can remember, I'm talking about the one with the yellow bra. And then this whole Kirby thing, is she alive or not? Who knows, you know? And so, but you remember Jill. Jill was an amazing killer. And not to mention, Amber. Amber killed a lot of stinking people. Amber killed a lot of people who were bigger than her. How in the world that tiny little girl did that? Now, when it comes to the Amber actress, Mickey, okay, remember how I said she shows up in the beginning and she disappears from the middle and she's back in the end? I liked all of her acting until she was revealed as the killer. Her trying to act manic and crazy just didn't work. Also, she killed like a cop off screen, and it's like, why she kill him for? He's not related to nobody. He's not related to none of the characters. And then I think she killed some other people, and I'm just like, why? And how did she get recruited by Richie? I know they met like online, but that's about it. Like, why was she so gung-ho and wanting to kill people so badly? And it's just, this movie could have been great, but it wasn't, and it's just disappointing. Oh, another thing they try to take from the TV show. So in the TV show, in the pilot, the main the main girl in the beginning, she's trying to use her phone to call the cops. And I forget, either her hands are wet from the pool or blood's on there, and she can't dial 911. The same thing happens to Chad Meeks. He has blood on his hands and he can't use his phone to call 911. And you know what's kind of weird? It's set in the movie, the year 2022. Where are all the security cameras at? Ghostface can't operate the way he used to because there's security cameras everywhere now. So I don't get it. Now, some other things that really bothered me with the movie I wanted to point out was the whole reference of the stab movies. See, Did the writers not watch Scream 4 because they said that Sidney was in every movie except for the eighth one? But in Scream 4, it's referenced that she stopped appearing in the movies after the third because she threatened to sue and everything. And so that's when they went in their own direction. And then they also say that every Scream movie, not Scream, but every Stab movie is good except for the eighth. But once again, reference, they kept saying that like by like the fifth one, things started going crazy and there's time travel in one. So did they not watch the very quick opening of like Scream 4? And then not only with that, but what I also don't get is like um Wes, he was like, his mom was the one in the Stab movies. She couldn't have been because the last Stab movie was Stab 7 in Scream 4, and her character hasn't been introduced yet. So, did they not write? And so, I mean, not right, but did they not watch? Sometimes I'm trying to think, did the writers do that on purpose just to piss off the fans? And if so, what is the point in trying to purposely piss off the fans? Like, it's almost like they don't want a career in Hollywood and stuff. And I don't want this really to continue with Scream 6, but it's already in production. And I think this probably would have benefited better if Scream 5 was a TV show. 'Cause it felt more like a TV show. It had the pacing of a TV show. It had the drama of a TV show. It had the bad acting of a TV show. I don't know. I think the ones that acting I don't like, if they would have tried a little bit harder, had a better coach, maybe. But just that Sam girl, there's something just not right about her acting. It's just like, why did she get picked? I don't get it. I'm not trying to be mean to the actress, but it's just kind of like it's either there or it's not. And for me, it just wasn't. Another thing that bugged me is making Kirby still alive, because when Richie was watching like those YouTube videos, there's one of an interview with Survivor Kirby, and I'm just kind of like, dude, Kirby died. Let Kirby die. All right, don't bring her back. All right, this is only for fanfare, and I ain't for that crap. Like, sometimes you can't always listen to the fans. Funny, because sometimes they can ruin some stuff. But with the actress, I don't know if she'll be able to do it because her personal life and her attacking people along with her crazy boyfriend and stuff. So with her attacking people in real life and fighting people in real life, she might not be able to do any movies. Who knows? Another thing I didn't like was, where was the chase sequence? The first two Scream movies had amazing chase sequences that really put you on the edge of your seat. And there was none of that in this movie. We got a little bit of a chase in the third when it was chasing everybody around. The fourth, I don't really recall too much of a chase, a slight chase, but just slightly. But it's just like, that's what slashers do. They chase people around. Now, apparently, in new slasher movies, they just talk you to death. That's really all this movie did, was just talk, 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 talk. I guess since I talked about all the stuff I don't like, I might as well just be a little positive and talk about some stuff I do like. I think Richie was the best written character out of the new cast. He really threw me off. Well, I knew who the killer was, but watching, I'm like, okay, maybe the thumbnail was like wrong, and maybe he's not the killer. And so as I'm watching, I'm like, how could he be the killer? He's like so like he just doesn't seem like the killer and everything. And because he was written to be like to throw you off like a huge red herring. And he did turn out to be the killer, and he was the mastermind behind the whole thing, but he wasn't the one doing all the killing. So yeah, I think he was written well. He really threw me off. Let's see what else I liked. I like Tara. I think Tara should have been the final girl. Final girl. Um, I love the actress who plays her. She did a really good job. I'm very proud of her. Also with Dylan, who played Wes, he does a great job. It's like in everything that dude been in. So if anybody was gonna live, it should have been him as well. Um, I just wish his character were more fleshed out. Like we know jack squat about him, and his only thing we know about his personality is he get picked on for having like a taser and stuff. It was nice to see Hicks back. I guess 10 years, yeah, it'd be nice to kind of wait, like mature and everything. She kept a light bit of her kookiness, but not really. It would have been nice for her to act a little bit more like she did before. It was just kind of weird to see like a complete change, but it was nice to see her. I like the growth and development with Dewey. They really went there to write like an actual character growth with him. It was nice seeing the older cast come back. I just wish that Sidney and I wish like Gale could have had like more to do. It was interesting that Gale wanted to like I think what was like go to LA and Dewey didn't want to, so I think he was the one who ended up like leaving her. But still it was her, like they could have made something work, but they didn't. And so if they were gonna do that, I just wish that could have been a little bit stronger. But it was nice to see like him back, and he had like a really cool scene. Like I don't know why he bought a revolver with him. Like, dude, this is Ghostface. Like you bring like a gun with a clip, and you wear a bulletproof vest. Like the killer was smart enough to wear one after the events of Scream 3, and that's the only time a killer's ever worn like a bulletproof vest. You wear a vest. I think it was smart. I liked how Sidney wised up. Like she put a tracking bug like on Richie's car, so to track them to when they went to the party and everything. So maybe she is with like that cop dude. It shows that she is like very wise, but if she was so wise, she would have never came back. Um, see what else I like. Ain't much. Oh, I did like the dialogue between Tara and Ghostface. That was kind of cool. It was a nice throwback to the first movie. But after that, I didn't really like the dialogue all that much. It just didn't seem all that interesting. It didn't seem edgy. It didn't seem angry or nothing like that. They was trying too much to be as calm as like the first movie. I do like the redesigned mask. Every movie they keep kind of like tweaking the mask. The first mask was a little too short, like the mouth chin piece. I like how they kept improving it with the other movies. They made it very sharp, I think, in the fourth, but then they just kind of rounded it out in the fifth. I did like the extra footage of the Stab movie because it's kind of like, okay, we know what the Stab movies are about, but it's kind of like we want to see that like fake footage, you know what I'm saying? So it was nice to have some new footage because in the fourth movie, for some dumb reason, they kept replaying the same crap that we saw in Scream 2. It would be neat to see a full Stab movie, but the cast now is much older, so that will never work. Let's see what else did I like. Like I said before, it ain't much. um, 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 I guess that's about it. All right. Well, about time to wrap this up. So I'm about to wrap this video up because it's getting pretty long and everything, but I just think this show should have had, not show, okay, well, it felt like a show, but this movie should have had better acting. The characters should have been more interesting. Nobody leaps out to me. Nobody stands out to me. There are some characters that just pop in and pop completely out. And even some of the originals like don't seem that interesting to me. That's still that whole Tara Amber thing. Like, why was that cut? It just felt chopped and edited so strangely because it seems like throughout the movie she was still into her, but there's no reference to that and everything. And the girl that Mindy was making out, I'm pretty sure that's who like Taria was supposed to end up at a point in time, because Amber was supposed to be like the ex and everything. And so I just don't understand why that storyline got cut. It seemed like part of it still was in there and everything, and it just got like cut. One reason why I think it might be is because they probably didn't want to hear the LGBT community complaining that you made like one of the first like LGBT characters in Scream a psychopathic killer. I mean, that could be it, you know, because I know they had one in I Know What You Did Last Summer TV show, and I don't know if they complained or not about that. I don't even know if so many people watched that. I don't even know if people knew that that even existed or even got canceled. Heck, when the show got canceled, none of the stars seemed upset. Like, you know how normally a show gets canceled and you always see like the stars from that show go on social media talking about, well, we tried our best and this and that. None of them did that. None of them even mentioned the show after it got canceled. I think they were probably relieved. All right, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.